Did you know that every year, a massive share of China's exports to the United States travels nearly 20,000 kilometers by sea? And almost all of it depends on one critical choke point, the Panama Canal. But there's a problem. The Panama Canal is no longer as reliable as it once was. Historic droughts, water shortages, growing ship backlogs, and America's strategic influence over the region are turning this vital trade route into a serious vulnerability for China. In fact, satellite data shows Panama's Gatun and Alajuela lakes, which feed the canal, at drastically lower levels in 2023 compared to 2022. So what's the alternative? Sailing all the way around South America through Cape Horn? That would force cargo ships to travel more than 30,000 kilometers through some of the most dangerous waters on Earth, including the infamous Drake Passage. More fuel, more time, higher costs, and a logistical nightmare for global trade. But what if China may have found another way? A route that could bypass the Panama Canal entirely. A route cutting across the narrowest part of Mexico, connecting the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic through a massive network of ports, railways, and industrial corridors. This is the Isthmus of Tehuantepec Interoceanic Corridor, and some are already calling it the new Suez. If this project succeeds, it could reshape global trade routes, challenge the Panama Canal, and change the geopolitical balance of the Americas forever. Mexico has quietly been building a dry canal across its narrow southern isthmus. The Isthmus of Tehuantepec Interoceanic Corridor, or CIT, is a massive infrastructure project designed to connect the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans without using canal locks. At the heart of the project is a railway stretching more than 300 kilometers, linking the Pacific port of Salina Cruz in Oaxaca to the Gulf Coast port of Coatzacoalcos in Veracruz. But this isn't just a railway. The project also includes 3 major rail lines, expanded seaports, new highways, pipelines, and industrial zones built across southern Mexico. In Mexican media, many are already calling it a land-based Panama Canal or even the new Suez. Railway. Line Z, stretching 308.5 kilometers, runs from Salina Cruz to Coatzacoalcos and has already been operating for freight service since December 2023. 2 additional branch lines are now under construction. Line FA, around 328 kilometers long, extends toward Chiapas and Tabasco, with several segments already operational by 2024. Meanwhile, Line K spans 472 kilometers, reaching south into Chiapas and toward the Guatemala border. Rail speeds are also seeing a massive upgrade, increasing from roughly 20 kilometers per hour on the old tracks to around 70 to 80 kilometers per hour for cargo trains. Ports. Both Salina Cruz and Coatzacoalcos ports are undergoing major modernization projects. New deep-water berths, expanded container terminals, and advanced cargo cranes are being added. In Salina Cruz, construction includes massive breakwaters and new container yards designed to handle huge Neo-Panamax cargo ships. On the Gulf Coast side, Coatzacoalcos is being dredged and expanded with modern logistics terminals. The region is also gaining new pipeline connections linked to the Dos Bocas oil refinery, along with upgraded highway access roads. Industry zones. The Mexican government plans to build around a dozen development poles or industrial parks along the corridor. These zones will offer tax incentives, reliable utilities, and infrastructure to attract factories producing automobiles, electronics, and other manufactured goods. The goal is to transform the corridor into a major industrial and logistics hub, generating constant cargo movement across the railway network. Highways and pipelines. Major highways are being expanded alongside the rail corridor to support trucking and regional access. At the same time, new fuel and natural gas pipelines are being installed to connect ports, industrial areas, and refineries, including a direct loop to the Dos Bocas refinery. Altogether, the Interoceanic Corridor is far more than just a railway project. It is a complete multimodal transportation and industrial network connecting the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor is designed to become a faster alternative to the Panama Canal. Instead of ships traveling thousands of extra kilometers around South America or waiting days in canal traffic, cargo can now cross Mexico by rail, in just about 6 hours. The system is built to move around 1.4 million containers every year. In a 2025 test run, nearly 900 U.S.-bound vehicles were transported across the corridor in only 1 week, reportedly faster and cheaper than using the Panama Canal at that time. For global shipping companies, the advantage is huge. Cargo from Asia can arrive at Mexico's Pacific coast, cross the country by train, and continue from the Gulf Coast to the United States or Europe. This could reduce shipping distances by roughly 12,000 to 15,000 kilometers compared to routes around Cape Horn. During the Panama Canal drought crisis in 2023, some ships lost nearly 2 extra weeks at sea, while this corridor offers a same-day land crossing. Mexico has invested billions of dollars into the project since 2019. Line Z is already operational for freight, while additional railway branches and industrial zones are still under construction. President Claudia Sheinbaum has stated that the full corridor is expected to be completed by mid-2026. But this project is not just about transportation, it is also about global power. China sees the corridor as a possible alternative route for exports to the United States, reducing dependence on the Panama Canal. For the U.S., this creates a new geopolitical challenge in Latin America, as influence over global trade routes becomes increasingly competitive. Still, the corridor faces obstacles. Environmental groups warn about damage to forests and ecosystems. Local communities have protested land issues, and rail capacity cannot yet fully match the scale of the Panama Canal. Even so, the Interoceanic Corridor could become one of the most important new trade routes of the 21st century, reshaping how goods move between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans.